Hey, we are here on Meetings with Masters with my dear, dear friend, Suzanne. I want you to say your last name. You say it so much more beautifully than me.
De Boisblanc.
Du Boisblanc. Yes, Suzanne de Boisblanc. Tyler. And that's what I have you still listed, although I don't know if you still use that name. But Suzanne and I connected at a Tony Robbins event, Date with Destiny, 2017. It has been my honor and privilege to be a part of your life over these past few years. And I'm so grateful and honored that you're willing to open up and share for the first time how you are finding your way back to love, back to joy, finding your way, finding meaning in a tragic loss. And among other things, Suzanne is the most intellectual, spiritually driven warrior that I've had the privilege to be friends with. And so, Suzanne, welcome.
Thank you, Gina.
Here.
Thank you.
Our connection has meant the world to me over the past couple of years since we've met, and I've watched you grow, and I've watched you scratch for the surface and find your way through the darkness and the pain. And so I know this isn't the easiest thing for you, but I'm honored again, and I welcome you. I'd love, if you're ready, for you to share who you are, where you come from, what you do, and where your heart is. So please, Suzanne, tell us about you and your life and your memories.
Well, when I met Gina in 2017 at Date with Destiny, I had just a few short months before lost my only child in a tragic accident weeks before graduation. And the details of all of that are so vague because I was in a shock mode for a very, very long time. But one of those phone calls in the middle of the night, and I had to fly up to New York very quickly with my brother, and because at the time I was divorced recently. And it was through that meeting in New York with other people that reached out to me that I started praying and asking God, if you want me to survive this, you have to help me, because I knew that it was bigger than me. I just figured that out very quickly when I had to go to the coroner's office and do the identification. And I met a woman in the lobby of the hotel in Manhattan, and she whispered in my ear, you have to get yourself to Francis Weller. And I said, who is Francis Weller? And she said, he's a grief specialist. You have to find your way to him. So when I came back to New Orleans to plan the services, I looked him up immediately, feeling that woman was just sent to me. And as soon as the services were over, I got on a plane and I flew to California to meet with Francis Weller.
Suzanne, can I back you up for 1 minute? I know this isn't the easiest part to share, but what you went through, is it okay if I share it, or will you share what actually happened, what we're talking about here?
I can, yes. You mean the accident? I'm not sure exactly what part of it you're talking about.
Just what happened. I mean, I only wrote it as a note. I don't know if our watchers know exactly what, know that you suffered. I mean, I can share that part unless you want to.
My child was actually a senior at NYU, and they were having a party after class preparing for graduation. And there was a lot of boys present, and they were, of course, drinking like all boys do. And one of them pushed, and they were harassing each other, and one of them pushed him, and he fell out of the window of the apartment. That's what happened.
And I just wanted that part, just that the people know that you lost your only child. I'm sorry, I know that this is so hard for you to share, And
Yeah.
I
You know, Gina, it's those things that I really tried to have other children, and I went through fertility, and I was told that after miscarriages that I would not be able to have other children. And so it was a medical therapist that actually told me, listen, this one child that you have can be like 10 children. So I started thinking of it that way, and I became very, very grateful. So it
and
made
he
my
was a magic. Sorry,
it was
go ahead.
that I had those 21 years was a gift that may not have happened. And I choose to believe that it was a blessing that I had 21 years. And you know, my recovery is going to be ongoing, and I know that. And I see threads. I see a thread to you. I see a thread to Michael Nitti, to Susan Hum, to Tina Gesso, to Nancy Lemire. They're threads, and I follow the people and I follow the leads, and those threads have led me to where I am at this moment, sitting in front of you.
I know. I love you so much. I'm so glad that I was placed in a seat behind you at Date with Destiny so that I can hold you on this journey and in whatever that means, whatever capacity. And, you know, I know that you have such a drive to the spiritual part of this, to understanding, finding the meaning. And I know that in just the small bit I know about your son, how, like, what an amazing young man he was. And what that meant, that you had, like, that doctor said to you it would be like 10 in one, because
Yes.
he was an amazing young man from what I know. And if anything you want to share about him or just about your journey, Suzanne, I mean, honestly, just so grateful. Someone is just saying how inspired they are by you. I can't tell who it is. Thank you for being there and guiding Suzanne towards her dreams. Thank you. It wasn't Suzanne, you've done it yourself by following, like you said, the seeds. So go on, please, whatever you'd like to share, we're here for you.
After I met with Francis Weller in California, he told me that, this is a journey. Grief is a journey. Loss is a journey. And we must never, ever do this journey alone, because there's always the fear that we will die from our sorrow. And it's like crossing a bridge to the other side. So, and having a witness with you to know that you can make it to the other side. And so I realized along the way I could pay a grief counselor to be my witness that I live and to care for me, but it is equally as rewarding, if not more, to have people like you coaching me and letting me know, if you can do it, I can do it too. And although you have the gift of having other children, I also know that I have other gifts that I can use, and eventually when I'm ready, I will.
Yes. And you are already, by just sharing. That's why this has been such we've been waiting for this moment to be able to share your story, because it inspires so many other people to be able to step into their light a little bit at a time, just as you've done. And yes, it's Susan. She said, okay, that was who was saying that. I had a feeling. And Nancy said, I love you both so much, by the way. I want you to know that they're here with you. This your tribe. This is the tribe that you've attracted into your life as a result of what you've been through. And we hold each other up, and we can't do it alone. We don't need to do it alone. We're never alone, never. But you hungered for it, Suzanne. You're continually working all the time to find your way through this. And I mean, tell me, like, those moments you're afraid to maybe have that connection of love again. Tell me what that's like for you, or the fears that you have sometimes. Let's talk about that, because these are real and people have it,
Here's COVID arrives, and everyone is talking about, my friends, oh, how happy they are to have their children home again, because all of a sudden the schools are closed. And so it's great family time. And I'm hearing this from my friends, and I can choose, which I try to choose with my heart, I can choose to sit and listen, or I can choose to leave these conversations. And I protect myself, Gina. I find ways to insulate myself from the discomfort and pain, and it's boundaries, and it's every day, and it's compassion. It's knowing my limits, that this is enough and this is too much. And so in dating, which I find myself putting, my toes in the water, I am afraid to lose. I am afraid to risk loving deeply, because I know that this possibility always is there to have a broken heart. And I have promised myself above all that I will protect myself, and I will never do anything to harm myself. And that's why I've stayed away from medication and alcohol, and I've gone to God, and I've asked, spiritual friends to help me. And I've asked, I do a ritual every morning with prayer and meditation. And in that ritual, it's always help me to get out of my own way. Trust again. And it's always with that intention. And I see God in all I do, Gina.
That's beautiful. That's amazing. And I hear you saying you've had that's what your drive was, to not medicate, to find God in everything you do, and to follow that and trust and faith. Not that it was easy, but that you do feel God in all of this, in your spirit, in your meditation practice, in your prayer, and you give it up to Him to begin with. When you said, I don't know how I'm going to get through this, but you have to help me, right? Like you from the beginning, you knew it wasn't going to be easy, and you asked for help and guidance, and what are some of the other ways that you have found that you've been guided, that have made the impact for you?
Well, I've read amazing books, David Kessler, Finding Meaning, which is exactly where I am right now, reading that. The Soul's Gift is also amazing, about the pre-planned life for all of us. And I'm reading Just Breathe, a breath work, training myself to really breathe deeply and exhale. And one thing the grief counselor told me, she said, you have to stop holding your breath. And I didn't even realize, Gina, that I was holding my breath. But I guess that's part of grief, is holding on to the feelings. And besides that, I've gone on retreat in Sedona and met some wonderful people. You were there. And I'm actively pursuing volunteer work on the ground here for the upcoming election on November 3rd, just to get people out to vote.
Yes.
So and I started a scholarship fund in my son's name. So I'm doing things, baby steps, baby steps.
Baby steps. And what you started a scholarship fund. Let's talk about that. Who is that? Something we can share here? Is that who does it benefit? Is it local high school or college, or?
It's high school here. It's there was a magnet school that my son attended, and I founded a scholarship, Environmental and Social Justice Award, for a student that excelled in the two fields, because he was environmental and social justice. I funded the scholarship and every year I present it to the student that the faculty deems,
Right, worthy. I was curious if that was something we would want to share here, where it's global, or not global, but nationwide. If not, then I don't know if it's something you want to share that we can post about. But it's really honorable that you do that in these little things, right? These are little ways you've gotten through, and giving back. Giving back, we know, is part of this. That being able to give back to others gives back to you, to be able to get through this, right?
Well, I remember reading a famous Indian philosopher, Tagore. He said, I slept and I dreamt that life was but joy, but I woke up and saw that life was but service. I served and saw the joy. So
gosh.
Right.
Uh-oh. It's frozen on my end, but we'll just give it a minute.
Gina? Oh,
There we go.
and
Now you're back.
so that's kind of my MO right now, is to figure out where to put my energy into something that I can really be proud of. And David Kessler's book, Finding Meaning, has been very helpful.
That's
Because,
really,
he also lost a child and wrote, as a grief counselor, he wrote about that.
right. And the journey through it. Right.
It talks about hope. We must never let go of hope. And that's one word that you have taught me, and I was really afraid of it. Because it meant me letting go of the grip that I feel that I've had. And I am afraid if I let go of that grip, then there was nothing else to hold on to.
Right. Like we hold on to that. It's like we hold on. And it's if we let go, it's almost like we're letting them go, we have to let them go again in some ways. Am I right? I mean, for me, that's how that works.
Right. I feel suspended in the connection that way. So if I let go of the strength of that hold on connection, I know sounds irrational, but for me, it's so real that, yeah.
No, I don't think, I mean, the thing is, I think anybody who suffered, especially this kind of loss, as we both have, can understand that probably, that, we hold on to that pain of it, and because it kept me connected. I can only speak for myself, and I think that you and I have talked about this, and I understand that too. And then it was like when it's that part of it is getting in your way of finding that joy and finding the meaning and finding love again, which is scary when you've lost the person, your child you love more than anything in the world. Most parents know that. We both do. So it's hard to, that's one place that's really difficult to let go. So when you can let go of the grief, the grief can start to let go of you, right? And you are able to follow the dots more through to finding that more meaning and love in your life. Please, am I right? Tell me. I mean, that was what it was like for me.
You're teaching me that. I hear it from my grief counselor, but it's just words. You're the human person. You put the human touch on it. I've been told that, but I don't feel it yet. But I'm watching you, and I'm beginning to see where I need to go.
Well, and you inspire me all the time because of the grace that you have in your journey, Suzanne. It's something to be, well, I'm inspired by it. I acknowledge you for it. You continue to follow that path towards peace, absolute peace, because I know sometimes you get in that place where it's like, it's scary. It's scary to let go of that grief. It's scary to let go of it again, and to love again, like we said, and you're doing it. You're doing it, and it's really inspiring. And when we share stories out here in the world, it's inspiring to those of us that are in the place you were 2 years ago, 3 years ago, when I met you, and you couldn't even barely see me, or anybody around you. You couldn't, no. You just happen to be in a place that people were such love, and holding you and wanting to see you grow and get through this. And so there's other people like that out there, which is why when we share our story, it unlocks other people's prison, right? Like as they say, which is probably not that you felt in prison, but you felt in shock, fear, frozen, whatever you felt at that time.
You know why it's taken me this many invitations from you to accept is because I thought in the deep part of my soul that if I talked about it, that meant I was admitting that it was true, that it really happened to me. And I was refusing to accept that it was really true. So I was playing this game with, well, if you don't talk about it out loud, then you can go on with this fantasy. And that's what I was doing. And I didn't realize how much it was hurting me. And I don't want to hurt myself. I really don't.
No, of course you don't, because I know your heart and you want to live and love again. And you're somebody who's others are always inspired by. And thank you for sharing that, because there are people out there who don't want to get up. I know that in the beginning it's hard to get, it's really hard to get up for a long time. And look, I'm 21 years, it took a long time for me to get up. But I did. And I always wanted to get up. So I found my way through it, but it took a long time. And you are fortunate to have this tribe around you of people that are able to pull you through. I didn't find that tribe till much later. And, but there's so many levels of grief. There's so many things that we have to overcome. Like we were talking about before this morning, just about sometimes, what were we talking about? The feeling of it being contagious,
Oh, yeah. Friends will say, without even meaning to say it, well, I can't be around you. I mean, I'll catch up with you later, and later never happens. There is this fear, oh God, if it happened to her, it could happen to me. And I have so many friends with single children, and they are so frightened of the connection. Maybe it's feeling that, my life could be their lives. It's strange, but it's isolating. It's isolating. Right. And it's hard to be anything but yourself, Gina. And so my vulnerability, I take with me wherever I go. It's a badge for me now, because it's just, I have to love and accept myself where I am. And this is where I am right now.
Right. Thank you for saying that, because your vulnerability is a superpower, Suzanne. It really, really is. And that you're ready to be in that place, the place of vulnerability. And yes, I understand that contagion, that part of I remember that well. It was people couldn't deal with me, right? It felt like they didn't want to be around me, like you said, because maybe they felt it was contagious. Who knows? It doesn't matter. None of that matters, right? We can't worry about what other people think. We certainly can't hold their grief. It's hard enough to hold our own, and that's another part of it. But, when you decide you want to find the path through it, you ask for help, find people that have been through it that inspire you. If you're going through something like this in your life, grab hold of those people that have been there, that are inspiring you. And this is me speaking out there to the world, right? Right, Suzanne, because that's what you're sharing this now, and the hopes that if there's somebody out there that hears this, it makes a difference in their life. That's, at least for me, it's one person here's your vulnerability, and I already know there are a ton of people are inspired, even if they haven't gone through that. And what you do daily is important, right? So your rituals, can we talk a bit about that again? What you're doing for yourself?
So I wake up and I read the Psalm in the Bible, and I've been doing that for over 6 months now. And I've done the Course in Miracles. Actually, a friend of yours turned me on to that, who also lost a child. And so I did the Course in Miracles. I read Psalm every day, and I meditate with Panache Desai. He's been very, very, giving during the time of COVID. And after I do Panache Desai's meditation, I do the breath work. The 6 breaths in and 6 seconds in and 6 seconds out. And I do 10 minutes of that. So the breath work, the meditation with Panache, the Bible. At the end of the day, I'll do my share of yoga online, but it's all of it together. It's not one. It's just the combination of all of it.
Right.
It's an armor.
Yeah.
Yeah,
say that again, because on my end you went out, and I was saying yes, tell me that again. It's like armor.
And I wake up, I feel vulnerable. The minute I open my eyes and I realize it happens to me every day. The minute I open my eyes, I go, oh God, this really is my life. This really happened to me. So I have to sort of go into that self-care mode, which is compassion and love. And then I get to the Bible, and I realize, I start meditating on the words, and I just get absorbed by it.
Mm-hmm. And it holds you up. Yeah.
It's humbling.
It's humbling.
Yes.
The Bible is
humbling. It's like an armor. Yeah. Yes. No, the words, words are not my words. They're someone else's words, but they're beautiful words, and I can make them my own. And it's my armor. It's my way to protect myself. When I head out the door to work, I realize I have to have some protection, and that's my protection.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I feel
it's a spiritual presence. It's a spiritual presence.
Yes. And I feel like I don't know where you'd be right now if you didn't have that, that to get, but you do. And that was you do. So that's what the point is, that if somebody out there has gone through this or is going through this, find what holds you in that space, because it's consistency also of doing it, right? For me, you have to do it consistently. It's repetition, doing things over and over again, recognizing yourself in a moment of fear, right, Suzanne? Because there's still those days where something hits you and you have to dig in a little harder, maybe. Am I right?
I got hit today, and before this call, Gina, I got a phone call from one of the friends of my son, and she had a bad dream, and it involved him, and she was crying on the phone, and how could I console her when I can barely console myself? But as you help me see, it is through helping her that I'm helping.
Yes.
And you help me see that. So instead of running from it, I move toward it.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
These instances happen every, out of the blue. They're just there. These triggers.
Yes. And they're going to happen. That's the thing, is that that's one thing I realized over time. Oh, I just wanted to say Nicole's on, and she said, I didn't want to get up for 2 years, right? Yes, I know. My goodness. But what I was saying is that one of my many spiritual healers that I went to over all those years, because I was like you, I didn't want medication. I went to spiritual healers and energy healers and Reiki and therapists. And anyway, she said, the triggers and the challenges are going to keep coming. Because I remember thinking, I've gone through the worst, so there can't possibly be any more challenges, right? But no, there are, even the things that will trigger, not that could ever be something worse than losing a child, but that there will still be things that trigger us, or that are curveballs that we have to deal and manage, and nothing will ever be as hard as losing our child, but you still have to deal with the triggers all the time, right? You have to manage them and to the best of your ability. And you do that.
I read, Gina, I follow the thread toward you, toward Michael Nitti, toward Susan Hum. They're threads of love and support, and the words and the actions of amazing people in my life inspired me to know, if they think I can survive this, then I can, because I have doubts. I've had doubts. But if somebody believes in you, it makes you want to believe in you more. So I hold on to that.
For sure. It's so true. It really is so true. I'm so glad because that's such a big, big piece, believing in yourself. And when someone else believes on you, it really does help you believe in yourself more and more and more. And as you believe in yourself more, I feel you have more peace, and you can find more peace, and you can find the meaning, and believing that you can find, what are you supposed to do with all this? And getting out of that victim of, why this happened to me? Why is this happening to me? Why do I keep getting the triggers? Why do I still have challenges when I've had the hardest thing? Why can't it be easy? At least I can speak that, for me, and that, yeah. It's a
you know what?
Good.
A priest I sat with one day I just wanted to go and sit in the back of a church, and I asked the priest to talk to me. And I sat in the back of the church and I said, "Tell me, Father, what to do." And he said, "Pray to your son." I'd never heard a priest talk like that. I said, "I'm mad, angry with God." He said, "Pray to your son. Ask him to help." And I remember you told me you'd been to a medium, and that had helped me too, because I decided that was something that I could do to help me bridge that huge space that I was feeling.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
Yeah.
And that did help me. I mean, I was fortunate to have that early on, just to have someone in my life that was a medium, and she helped me see that I could bridge. That was something that did bridge the gap for me. Doesn't, and I know that wasn't an easy thing for you to do either. And I know that when you did speak to him, at least the one that I know you spoke to, that Glenn, that you came through me, I know that he was able to bring, I mean, we watched him bring your son right to you, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
It's remarkable when he said, "Go ahead."
Yes, it felt good. It felt really good.
Yeah. And if it's just that it gives you this little gift, right? That where he says, he basically repeated what happened, and he repeated things that your son did, and that he was a piano and swimmer, right? Is that it? But he said, there's a young man here, he plays piano and he's a swimmer. Were those the two of the things that I felt the medium hit the nail on the head with? He validated?
That's right.
Among
yes,
other
that's
things.
Right. They were both right.
Yeah. And I know that just helped you feel a little connection, actually, you could tell us what that helped you feel.
Well, one of the most painful things, Gina, is the separation. Is not to know what to do with the separation. This was my bottom line. Everybody has a bottom line in life, and my family was my bottom line. Like, don't touch my family, anything else but my family. And I've heard you say that when you've been interviewed in the past, how important. So, I've had to really assess how to recreate another way of referencing my life, because my slate was cleared. And that medium helped me touch that, it's not over for me. It's just in a dorm.
Yes.
My motherhood journey is not over. It just has taken a different form.
Yes.
And when people ask me if I have a child, I always say yes. I don't explain it.
Right. You don't have to.
I've understood.
Yeah.
So,
because you'll always be a mother, and you'll always have a child, and that's just that. That's it. And people do grieve differently, and people find their way differently, or they bury themselves differently, or they medicate themselves differently. You chose spirituality and growth, and surrounding yourself with people that could hold you through that. And that, I think, those are some of the, and your morning, your rituals, whether it's morning, afternoon, evening, whatever it is, rituals that have empowered you to continue to grow through it. Would you see those are some of the top things that you could do if you're going through something?
Well, it was people, it was places, and it was things for me. I found the people that would give me the message I needed to hang on to. Okay.
Mm-hmm,
the places would be, I went on 3 retreats last year, one in a monastery, just to be around spiritually based people.
Mm-hmm.
And things are my rituals, my exercise routine, my meditation, my breath work. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I've leaned into all of that.
Yes. And I know it's made an impact for you. And and moving forward, what else do you see for yourself? What else do you see? Since now, we can sort of start to look at what right now I know, like, staying present is so important, and not thinking much about where you're going or what you're doing to overwhelm you, but just what you want,
What do I want? I'm living in the present moment. That's where I can find the greatest amount of comfort. I can't go too far to the future, and I don't visit the past that often because it's not healthy. So my self-mastery is in being so comfortable in this moment, talking with you, doing what I'm doing. This is mastery for me. And when I start going too far to the future, it creates questions and concerns. And I am sure that the tribe that I'm creating is going to, keep illuminating my life. And I'm sure that it will bring good things in my life.
Yes.
But for right now, it's today.
Thank you. Yes. And today you have graced us with your story. And I want to share one last thing actually too about something that I do. We are both part of the Life Makeover Collective with Tina Gesso and Susan Helm, which has made an impact, I believe. And I wanted to just share about that because especially for women, it's been a way to help each other grow and find meaning in our lives. And that's part of having that tribe. And I know that that's, and we also, we've been in other masterminds together with Michelle Sorrow, and I don't want to not talk about those things because they've all made an impact. It's about that surrounding yourself with those people that can hold you and guide you, and a group that, like you said, that makes that impact in your life. And so I just wanted to mention that because I think that Life Makeover has made an impact in your life, has it not?
Well, Susan has said something to me, and Michael Nitti had said the same thing to me months ago in private, in a conversation, is that, well, so you've got this huge vacuum in your life now. You will fill it. You will fill it with something beautiful because that's just what you'll do. And that it didn't make me feel frightened when two people that I respect said that. So Susan and Tina have been so impactful in that because they can identify very, very quickly where your strength is and clearly hold the bar just a tiny bit above where you are so that you have something to reach for. And that's my experience of them. And that's really been very powerful for me because I'm looking, I am seeking, I am actively wanting to move in a direction. And the question mark for me is which direction? And they've been very powerful in putting the way.
Yes, I agree. And I just wanted to mention that because there's also so many directions. We are offered a lot of different directions, especially now with COVID. And like you said, there's so many, we were stuck being alone, right? And I know that was hard for you. And yet that we had this opportunity to connect with people online and have all these different options. And that can also be like, which way do I go? But you just have to follow what feels right for you and feels peaceful. And I know that that's what you've been doing really gracefully, Suzanne. And I'm so inspired all the time by that in you, that grace, because it's really peaceful and it's really honorable. And you are a beautiful, amazing woman. And I just am grateful to be on this journey and this path with you. And honored that you're ready to share here.
You're frozen.
Oh, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? I cannot. You're frozen as well. I don't know. That might mean we have to end this. So can you hear me, Suzanne? No?
You were frozen, but you're
okay. Well, let's just I think that might be our sign to wrap it up. But I want to thank you. What?
No, I just said thank you.
Yes, and thank you. And thanks everybody for watching, for listening. More to come with Suzanne as she grows. Watch her. It's been beautiful to watch your journey as you grow through this. So thank you again. And thanks everybody for being here. See you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.